Alex, take one.
If I have some Tic Tacs, I'm going to
Yeah,
bring this
no,
craft services.
we need a caterer here for this.
Just to get us started and get us kind of into it, it's probably not exactly what we'll be using, but how'd you get into the business in the first place? What was your journey to this point, kind of?
Well, I always wanted to be in advertising. I mean, I was always the one, I think when I was a kid, I paid more attention to the advertising on TV than I did the shows. You know, I would run into the room when the commercials came on. So I've always been interested in advertising, went to school for advertising, ended up working in Richmond for a number of years, had the opportunity to move back to Roanoke, where I grew up, and just been fortunate that I can do what I love to do, where I love to live.
What attracted you to the whole field? What do you think makes advertising cool and still keeps you excited about it?
Well, it's creative, you know, and I think that's a big part of it. Whether or not you are actually writing the ads and designing the ads or programming the websites or shooting the videos, it's a creative field. And everybody in the business needs to be creative, has to be creative to be able to survive. And I think it draws people to the field who are innately creative, who are naturally creative, who like solving problems, who like taking on challenges, who like, whether it's the strategy aspect of it or whether it's actually the pure creative aspect of it, you have to be creative. You have to be looking for fresh ideas, fresh insights. And I think that's, you know, that has to be part of your personality to be successful in this field.
You're in a really unique place. NDP, of course, is rooted to the Packet Group, to Brand Emmons Packet, and goes back how many years now?
Well, from what I understand, the agency goes back to about 1964.
And of course, you know, you still have you still have Howard around.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
What is the advantage to your agency to have that rich legacy to draw on?
It's a big part of our agency. I mean, it was a very conscious decision.
Can you start that with a more full sense, like our history is a big part of our agency,
Yeah.
because that gives me a better
cut. Our history is really tied directly to Howard Packet. I mean, it's obvious in our name, Needhawk, Dubuque, and Packet. And we made a conscious decision when we blended these two agencies to keep Howard Packett's name in the company. He's a huge part of advertising industry and in Virginia advertising, and we wanted to honor that by keeping his name as a part of this company now. It's just a rich heritage of what Howard and the agency has done over 30-some years. And we see that trajectory is just continuing to move forward.
What do you think the advantage to a community, you know, as a Roanoke, as a person who loves Roanoke, what do you think the advantage is to a community such as ours to have a strong creative presence of people who are involved? I mean, you know, if you look at the Howards and the John Will Creasy's and the Mamie Vests, they weren't just involved in advertising. There probably wouldn't be a center in the square if it wasn't for John Will Creasy. There certainly wouldn't be a festival in the park. You know, the stuff that Howard has done both in the advertising business, in the business community itself, and in local politics is profound. Cabell Brand, who started it, is as influential as anyone. What is the power of having creative people who step outside who step outside of the advertising role? What kind of power does having creative people involved in the community have? I guess is just my direct question.
You see, our region is so fortunate, I think, to have so many creative people. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about creativity. These are really interesting people. It's like you had mentioned earlier. They're not necessarily part of just advertising. These are people who are involved in advertising, they're involved in their communities, but they're doing it with a creative mindset and a creative framework. You know, the development of Center in the Square, the development of so many of the great social programs who have been able to thrive as a result of great creative people who have a great public service heart and are helping out in the community here. So we're really, really fortunate as a region to have had so many great creative talents come through here over the years, because they've not only helped our industry, they've helped the community grow as well.
That's great. What is the most impactful, let's start out with, what is the most impactful ad that was done here in Roanoke that you're aware of, that you personally liked, and why?
Oh my God, Todd.
It's funny one that comes up, and I wouldn't say it's very creative, but it's one that sticks in your head is the Valley Dale.
I was just getting ready to say the Valleydale pigs have got to be. I mean, that was one of those commercials that I ran back into the room to watch those pigs march across the screen. Valleydale has been a huge, huge. I mean, it's just something I can still sing the song. You know, I can still do the jingle.
What work have you been a part of that you're particularly proud of?
The work for Carilion Clinic has been something I've been very proud of. Our work for Downtown Roanoke Incorporated, I've been very proud of. Work that touches people in this community in a lot of different ways. You know, cross sections of people. Our work for Advance Auto Parts, I'm very, very proud of. It's a great, local business. But I look at things that touch so many different people, and our work for Carilion touches so many different people. Our work for Downtown Roanoke touches so many people, and as a downtown business, I'm very proud of that as well. So I look for work that we do that affects a big cross-section of people, and that makes me proud to do that when I can touch so many different people that way.
As an agency principal in a small to medium-sized town, southern town, what exactly do you do? What exactly is the purpose of an ad agency in the context that we're given?
My kids ask me the same thing as that. What is it that you do, Dad? Do you write the ads? No, I don't write the ads. Do you do the design on the ads? No, I don't do the ads. My kids say I just sit on the computer all the time and just type. I'm fortunate that you can build a business in an area like the Roanoke Valley that is a creative business filled with creative people who are all doing some really, really exciting work. To me, that's the exciting thing of an ad agency, is building a group of people together who have a common vision about where they want to go, how they want to affect where they live and the environment that they're in and the business that they do through creative ideas, through creative expression. And you can do that in a way that affects so many different people. That's pretty cool when you can pull together people who are all kind of pulling for the same thing. And you can do it in a place like the Roanoke Valley, which is such a great place to live. That's a win-win situation for me.
You're because you have offices in different areas. And actually your work with Medico would probably also give you a good context for this. But so many people believe that you work in a market the size of Roanoke in order to not work in a market the size of Roanoke. It is a stepping stone market, and that the people who stay here are people who just never could escape. I've never ever believed that. I've always believed that that some of our best people chose to stay here because of that. How do you feel our talent level stacks up, and how do you think our talent level over your career? You've seen people come in and come out. How do you think our talent level has stacked up across the decade or the couple of decades you've been in?
I think one of the issues that the Roanoke region has had to face is the difficulty in recruiting people. I mean, that's not necessarily true for just our industry. It's true for a lot of different industries, maybe with the exception of healthcare. But we've got great creative talent who are here. We've got the access to so many schools and colleges and universities in the area who are cranking out great creative people, naturally creative people, people who want to jump in and change things. So that's really, really fortunate for us. And so I think there's great creative people here. I think we have the opportunity to attract great people, but a lot of it goes back to the Roanoke Valley. And the Roanoke Valley has to continue to work on its image to be able to recruit more people. One of the things that we learned long ago is you hire people where they are and you build from where they are. I think we've got a great opportunity to hire people who are right here who are creative, who have marketing minds, who have a business mindset, and we can grow from here just as easy as we can grow from anywhere else.
What about the technology? I mean, how has the technology enabled agencies like yours to do work anywhere? Agencies like mine to do work anywhere. You know, one of our first jobs we ever got was with a company in South Africa, and I don't think you would have done that in the '60s and '70s. How's the technology changed? Well, actually, you know, you even look at when I got here, there were 4 type houses.
Yeah.
And how have you seen the impact of technology over the time that you've been in advertising?
Technology has changed the business drastically. You know, there were type houses years ago that, you know, used to set your type and had wax machines around in the office. You can be anywhere now and do the work that we do. And in fact, the way that we're set up as a company is our work flows through multiple offices. So we can have an account executive in Indianapolis, we can have a media buyer in Roanoke, we can have a digital team in Tennessee and in North Carolina, we can have creative that's spread out over multiple offices, and we're all connected. We're all connected through video conferencing and Skype and Google Hangouts and obviously phone and email. And the work, you know, is on a common server, so we're sharing the work across the board. I mean, these types of things wouldn't have been even thought of 20 years ago. So the work has drastically changed because of technology. We've become faster. It's caused us to push faster, I think. It's caused our clients to push faster. But the work has changed dramatically, and it's, you know, that's largely driven by technology.
The thing I dislike now about the new, do you remember when a brochure used to come in and everybody was with bated, you had a bated breath, you open the box and you smell that smell, and it's an exciting thing. The comps look as good as the finished product now, sometimes better.
Comps look as good, absolutely. And the printing, you know, the printing is much faster as well. I mean, there's talk about technology changes that happens at the printers as well. You know, your quantities are different, the print times are different. The smell is still the same. It's a great smell when you open up that box of brochures. But the whole technology and the way that the work is produced is very, very different now. But it's better. You know, it's caused us to be better. It's caused us to think more about opportunities and creative ways of producing projects. It's caused us to think more about how we align our teams, you know, what clients we put with different teams because of technology. It changes every aspect of our business.
What, with the exception, you could make an argument that Houck may have been as long-lived as your agency, but that's the only one that I can think of. What is it that what do you think that you can attribute the longevity of the core of this agency being, and I think that's the big question I have. Why do you think that you guys have made it? It's certainly, you know, for me, I've always said, you know, there's a lot about this business to keep you humble. I look back and I see that there's always 3 hot agencies in town, or at least 2. And after 5 years, one of those is gone every time. You know, you can go back, you see Brett Morey Design. You know, I know Katie's still doing work, but Katie's not 10 people anymore. And there's a lot to keep you humble in that. In that, what do you think the key to the longevity that this agency's enjoyed has been?
Well, it's a tough question, but I think the key to the longevity of our agency goes back, I mean, I can certainly trace it back to Howard Packett. So much of who he is, I mean, Howard was a great person in that when I watched him in a pitch situation or in a client meeting, he had a way of completely disarming the room, completely disarming the client, putting everybody at ease. And, you know, so you came back from that meeting or that pitch, and you had a sense of, wow, we can do this. You know, we can do anything. Because Howard had just that confidence and that way of carrying himself, that way of interacting with others that made you feel like you could do anything. I think we can trace a lot of that back to Howard and how he ran the business, you know, the care of which he took care of his own people, but the care of which he took care of the clients. all of those principles are still there, and I think they have to be there for any agency to be able to survive. So you have to take care of your people, you have to take care of your clients. And, Howard started this years and years ago, and I think those fundamental things are still there in our company today.
Couldn't ask for better. I couldn't have scripted it better. Who's the most creative person you've ever met in this business?
I think the most creative person that I've ever met in the business would have to be Bill Westbrook. I had the opportunity to work with him at the Martin Agency, and phenomenal creative person, very powerful creative person. Talk about somebody that could change a room. Bill could change a room completely. Definitely the most creative person that I've known.
Who's the most admirable person you've worked with in this business?
Well, the most admirable person that I've worked with is Howard. I mean, Howard Packett is one of my models, one of my role models. And, I've always said Howard will always be welcome at this firm anytime, any place, anywhere. He's always welcome here. He is the patriarch, and he still is the patriarch. And he's definitely one of my role models.
You've done just terrifically, by the way.
I agree.
What do you have what funny has happened to you that involves the business that you can talk about? What's the
That I can talk about?
That you can talk about, yeah. I once had an AE throw up all over a client and and one of his key distributors. It wasn't with Access. It was with a previous job, and it was a coworker. It was that one was funny, but I don't tell it a lot.
Oh,
it's
my
funny
God.
now, but
That's awful.
yeah. But there's just so much weird stuff that happens in this
There is a
business.
lot of weird stuff. That's a tough one.
It's funny because what we do is inordinately exciting. The process through which we do it is really dull to watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
you-
It's painful. It's painful. I mean, you never know where the ideas are going to come from, or who they're going to come from. And so, yeah, if you're watching that, it's just like watching this table, because the idea could come from watching this table. So that's exceptionally boring. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see how we do the work. They want to see the result of our work. They want to see the commercials. They want to see those damn Valleydale pigs marching across the screen. I don't know, funny things that have happened.
Oh, that was a great nugget right there. You did good. Yeah.
Sandy will tell you much better funny stories than...
I feel sure.
Sandy's got plenty of those.
Yeah. Have you ever had a big one that you almost had that got away? A big client, one that could just have changed whatever the course was. We had one. I'll tell you about once the camera is off. But what happened? Was it interesting, or have you ever had anything like that happen to you?
I think every agency has a situation where there was a client opportunity that got away. And you invest so much in the pitch process, you invest so much in the research, you invest so much in developing the work, and you go in, you make it through several rounds of presentations, and you're feeling good about it, man. You're like, oh, this is feeling really, really good. And then it slips away. I think every agency has been through that, and that makes you stronger as an agency, because you've got to understand that's going to happen all the time. So you've got to learn from those situations. You've got to learn about how to be sharper, how to be smarter, how to do it better the next time. You've got to scrutinize every aspect of what went wrong, what happened there for that to slip away. It doesn't tear down an agency. It builds up an agency. It builds character. It builds the ability to do the work better. It makes you sharper. It makes you hungrier, to want to win that next one. So, I celebrate ones that slip away, because that's an opportunity to change how you go about the business, to change how you approach the business, to change who you're working with, how you're approaching that, what you're doing, the quality of work that you're doing, every aspect. You can tear it down and put it back together again, and you go after it again.
Why is what we're doing important?
I think the work that we do as advertising folks is important because we have an opportunity to influence the buying process. You know, it gets into one of those textbook type of things, but it's true. It's the work that we do impacts what we buy, how we behave, our purchase patterns. We have the opportunity to drive better quality, production of products and goods and services. We have the opportunity to create brands from where there were none, brands that can do good for people. So we have the opportunity to influence so many aspects of the way people behave and the way people purchase and the way people do all types of different decisions throughout the course of the day. That's pretty powerful when you think that we have the opportunity to influence so many people to change and to do so many different things and to behave in a certain way. That's pretty cool.
Do we have a sort of fiduciary responsibility in the same way that a journalist, at least theoretically, does, to be to be truthful as advertising folks?
I mean, ethics is a big part of our business as well. Yeah, it's definitely a part of the public relations business, but ethics is a big part of our business. A company like NDMP, we work with a ton of healthcare organizations all over the country. We have to be super, super careful about that. There are so many different regulations affecting healthcare, as you know, so we have to be very, very careful about that. We have to make sure our folks are very, very aware of the lines. So yeah, that's a big part of how we behave as a company with our clients.
I'd keep you here, but you've done so great. I mean, I can't ask for more. I think we're good.
You're good?
Appreciate it.